more people are joining. So just to water our mouth, Andrew. So what do we expect from today's webinar? So some, if you don't mind sharing some ideas.
Absolutely.
Just warming up before we get started.
Sure. In today's 1 hour, that is 60 minutes, which you are investing with us, you can expect the striking of balance between emotional intelligence and your leadership. EI is an ability and leadership is a skill. EI, that is knowing your emotions, is very important in case you want to practice the skill of leadership, because opening up of one gate with your degrees, with your right interviewing skills is possible. But to keep opening other gates, you will have to stand there tall. And how do you do that? It is with EI. How do you influence people? It is with EI. Yes. So how do you strike a balance between your emotions and other person's emotions by influencing your people is what you can expect in 60 minutes.
Great. So I'd like to ask you up from this question. So I can't resist asking this this question. So,
in fact, that gives me a context.
I know we're warming up, so I shouldn't ask these kinds of questions now, but let me do it because it's free space. So really, it's a casual space. We're not really. So we're between friends. So my question: are emotions intelligent? Are emotions intelligent? So we talk about emotional intelligence.
Right. Is there a particular question that you want to raise right now?
Yeah. So this is the questions. We're speaking about emotional intelligence.
Okay. So we are
emotions by definition, are they really intelligent?
Right. We are talking about intelligence of emotions. How about if I put it this way? Because every emotion carries a message, be it anger, be it disgust, be it happiness. Each of the emotion is carrying a message. How intelligently you recognize that emotion and how intelligently you decode the message of that emotion to bring your action in practice is emotional intelligence.
Like that. So an emotion is just a message.
Absolutely. And it's a powerful message. If you let go of it, the intensity may increase and unpleasantness may increase.
Okay, great. So I think now we still have 2 minutes before we get started. We have some friends sharing this space with us. We have Raman, come sleep, I guess. Sakib, Pascal, Farahand, Shweta. So welcome everybody. If you'd like to jump in and introduce yourself, go ahead. If you'd like to say something, go ahead. So it's really a casual space. We're between friends and it's an interactive space. Raman, you'd like to go ahead?
Raman, you aren't audible, but we are waiting to hear you. Raman is a friend too, by the way.
I'm trying to, I don't know if I'm audible now.
Yes, you are very, very much audible now.
It's so nice to see two veterans speaking about it. It's always a very interesting subject to talk about, especially emotions. We cannot be in this world without emotions. Emotions help us to overcome the obstacles that we have. Emotions are definitely an encouraging factor. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the whole process this evening. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
I look forward to it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
In fact, Dr. Kayas, Raman himself is a veteran in the area of emotional intelligence, having authored a book very recently and a beautiful book on it.
Thank you so much.
What was the title?
It's called Amateur Mindset to Professional Mindset.
What was the first mindset?
A mature mindset to professional mindset.
It was titled
Mature mindset to professional mindset. Wow, I like that. So we hope to listen from you, down the road on that book, and if you share some insights, would be pleased if you share some insights from the book while we're really discussing the content of today's presentation and today's webinar. So really eager to hear from you on that, Roman.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get started. So I'd like to start by really introducing our guest speaker for today. So we're pleased to have among us Anju Chawla. She's an ICF ACC coach, and she's really specialized in emotional intelligence and well-being. And she's among us today to talk about emotional intelligence and leadership. So Anju, you're very welcome. The space, the floor is yours. So please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kayas. And with this, friends, I'll take the liberty to respect time. And time is money, as I said, and you all have invested your time. Allow me to share my screen so that we can start discussing not only for people who learn with their auditory modality, but also for people who learn with their visual modality. And here is the slideshow. Dr. Kayas, give me a thumbs up in case the slide is visible to you.
Yeah, it's clear.
Great, great. Once again, friends, welcome you to the world of emotions, intelligence of emotions, and how intelligence of emotions can impact your leadership skill to build that influence on people with whom you want to work, with whom you want to increase your productivity, performance, and in nutshell, reach that zenith or that goal which you have decided for yourself and for your team. Having set the context of today's 60-minute, I invite your views because it is not going to be a monologue. No, 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 no. I am notoriously known for not having monologues, but dialogues. So I'll request you to just have a look at these two pictures. So this is the first picture and this is the first picture and this is the second picture. With today's topic in mind, that is emotions, intelligence of emotions, and leadership, whatever comes to your mind looking at these two pictures, please feel free to give a shout out. I'm taking a pause for 30 seconds. Look, speak.
The first picture shows emotional burst,
Okay.
and second picture shows emotional calmness.
Lovely, lovely. That is indeed lovely. Anyone else? You all are invited.
I look at this as the rise and the tide that you find in the oceans.
Okay.
If there is a rise, there is a calm too. So it's equally opposite.
Fantastic. So that again is another perspective. First perspective was these are two extremes. Certainly, yes. Second perspective came, if there is one side of the coin, there is second side of the coin too. Fantastic. Any third perspective that we can invite on this picture, please? Anyone? Waiting for another 5 seconds before I proceed. And it would be lovely to hear you all because you have invested your time. Anything?
I would say this is nature.
This is nature, right? So let me weave all the three perspectives, and thank you each one of you for sharing the perspective. Starting with what Dr. Kaya says, this is nature. Yes, emotions is inbuilt in the nature of each one of us. Second, one is one side of the coin and second is second side of the coin. Yes, there are pleasant emotions, there are unpleasant emotions. If there is one, then there can be second, as Raman said. And the third perspective was one is an extreme, which is totally like crashing out, whereas the other is second extreme, which is like totally centered. And yes, each one of us, be it a leader, be it a person who is in the pipeline of leadership, we all are striving hard to make friends with our emotions. Who here is not striving for that? Please give us a shout out in case you feel that, no, I don't want to be friends with my emotions. No, I don't want to really know as to what my emotions are telling me. Anyone? A shout out. And if not, then give me a thumbs up, because a thumbs up will tell me that yes, we all are here to learn what my emotion is telling me. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Moving ahead with this, keeping the context in mind, because it is very important for all of us to know that where are we heading to? We are heading to understand, we are heading to bridge in case there is a gap, the bridge between what are my emotions and how can I use those emotions to reach my leadership level, whatever level you have decided for yourself for now. So emotionally intelligent leaders are aware of their own emotions. Let's quickly check. How many of you are aware of your current emotions? Put it in the chat box, please. Whatever is your current emotion, please put that in the chat box. I feel excited. That's my emotion. And I'll request all of you to please go on mute since there is a background noise coming from someone's login. Okay. So in the chat box, let me just check the chat box. It is confused, calm, curious, peaceful, delighted, and so on and so forth. That's number one thing. If you are aware of your emotions as many times as possible, in the moments of pleasantness, in the moment of unpleasantness, half the battle is won. So where is the rest of the battle? The rest of the battle is knowing in other person's emotions, because in any transaction, it is not only me who is involved, there is a second party involved as well. So for example, if Dr. Kayas and I are speaking, there is a goal because of which both of us are talking. And let's say Dr. Kayas is the leader who has to influence all of us. In that case, Dr. Kayas not only needs to know his own emotions, but he also needs to be intuitive about my emotions and the emotions of other people. How many of you are wondering? How many of you are wondering that why am I supposed to know the emotions of others? Let's hear from you. How many of you are having this question in your head that, okay, I know about my emotions, but why do I want to know about Sakib's emotions or Shweta's emotion? Anyone? For a very simple reason. For a very simple reason that I am interacting with somebody to reach a goal. That goal can be negotiation. That goal can be a merger. That goal can simply be a decision about should we restructure our organization. That goal can be as simple as should we bring any change to our policy during the times of pandemic, let's say. And whenever there is a goal and two parties are involved in it, both are bundles of emotions. So one party, that is one bundle of emotion, is dealing with other bundle of emotion. My emotional intelligence will tell me that what am I feeling in the moment, and what is the other person feeling in the moment. I will not only manage my emotions by controlling them, I repeat, by controlling them, and I will have to manage the other person's emotions by managing. I cannot control the other person's emotions. So for example, if when I'm telling Dr. Kayas that, all right, Dr. Kayas, let's have 100% virtual attendance. Let's give them all the gadgets that our people need for the working of our organization. And Dr. Kayas is like, oh, that is going to add to my budget. And I'm not only understanding my emotions and controlling them, but I'm also I'm intuitively understanding the emotions of Dr. Kayas, that, oh, perhaps he's weighing something. No, perhaps he's not really happy with what I'm saying. Perhaps he's not ready with what I'm saying. And I will have to tone up, tone down, pace up, pace down the communication that I intend to share with Dr. Kayas. Any questions so far, please? Whenever in doubt, please check it out.
I'll jump first. So
Yes, please.
then
Yes, please.
give the space to my friends here also. So my first question, you said we cannot control other people's feelings. How
Absolutely.
about controlling our own feelings?
Absolutely. That's what I said. The underlining word is controlling my
I'm just
emotions.
inviting you to think about the word controlling. So do
Sure.
we control our feelings?
All right.
Can I make a little correction? Sorry,
Yes,
can I
Raman.
make a little? Yeah, when I'm trying to talk of control, I'm trying to use some force, whereas I would think, how would I manage? Managing is much easier than controlling. Controlling is done by Adolf Hitler. Managing is done by most democracies. Yeah.
That's
you,
right.
Raman.
That's right, Raman. Absolutely right. But at the same time, let's not forget that the only person I can control is I, me, myself. And that equally applies to my emotions. Yes. The meek way to say, or not the meek, the mild way to say is regulation, managing. But a strong way, that is where I know I have to do it. That is where the line of control comes in, and I can control only I, me, myself, but I can manage the other person's emotions. And that is why underlining word control comes in. I hope that answers your question, or I hope that gives you a sufficient platform to think around the word control.
Oh yes, yes.
Thank you.
Allow me
Yes.
to shed
So
more light on.
if I agree to everything that you say, it means you're influencing me. But the disagreement was more to get into an agreement.
Absolutely. And we must learn to disagree to agree to disagree. We must learn how to agree to disagree.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
My thinking here, so I'd like to share this with you and get your feedback on it. So my thinking, and here I recall Dr. or Professor Steve Peters' book, The Chimp Paradox. He's really talking about the brain and talking about the limbic system, which is really where emotions come from. And he's talking about the frontal cortex, where rationality and logic comes from. So, and he's saying really the samba is really assimilating the system limbic to a chimp. And he's saying we cannot control the chimp. We can just manage it, because if I feel angry, so I cannot but be and feel angry. Now the question is how to respond to that. So controlling means that I can really I have really a button, so I can press that button to be in any emotional situation I'd like to be in. But that's not really human, I think. So I'm sharing this with you, and maybe we can discuss it further.
Absolutely. So far, I will restrict the discussion to one statement, that is, the brain can be trained. So in case, I'll give you an example here. And you're absolutely right, Dr. Kayas, Raman, both of you are absolutely right that controlling is, I'm not a machine, but there is a but to it. And the but is, let's say anger management. Anger is an unpleasant emotion, but not always. At times, anger is required also. Otherwise, people might start taking me for granted. So if the result from anger is not in my favor, then I call this emotion as unpleasant. Now, in case it is unpleasant and I want to manage it, but I feel short of managing. I do not get that strength to manage my emotion. In that case, my brain needs to be trained, and that is where anger management comes into picture. That is where change of narrative has to happen, and that is where it becomes control. Because then you are controlling not your limbic system. Your limbic brain will keep throwing the emotions, but the span of this emotion getting generated, the hormones which are getting generated, you are able to control, or you are able to cut short the cycle of this hormone to spread the message in your with your neurons. And since the message hasn't even started about anger, so you have controlled that emotion. But again, the idea of emotional intelligence is ever evolving. We have perspectives and we must respect all the perspectives. A sportsman, when enters the arena, enters it with full centeredness, enters it with full grace. But we have had examples wherein the referee was hit hard on his nose just because one of the tennis player, I cannot pronounce the name also, a little tricky name, but so one of the tennis player in the fit of rage hit him hard with the tennis ball. What happened? He could not control. So next time, in case he has to continue with his journey of that sports, somewhere down the line his brain will have to be trained more by the trainers now. So yes, that indeed is your viewpoint is indeed correct, but when it comes to the extreme cases, one has to control. There is no denying there. Moving ahead, Dr. Kais, with your permission, may I?
Please go ahead.
Thank you. So as I said that in EI, there are minimum two parties involved. One is I, me, myself, and the second party can be any of the stakeholder. And if I have to be an emotionally intelligent leader, I must not only listen to my emotions to understand them, but also intuitively listen to the other person's emotions to understand and then strike a balance. So I may have to pace up and pace down, tone up and tone down, leave certain things, take a pause somewhere, or maybe raise my voice as well. So it is something like I not only say that I understand, but I say that with empathy that I understand you and I feel you, and this is what I can do for you. I'll repeat myself here. A leader who is emotionally intelligent will not only have centeredness, but also will have the calm and composure to be empathetic at 3 levels. First, I understand. Second, I understand what you are feeling. And third, I understand what you are feeling, and this is what I can do for you. That's one very important competence of an emotionally intelligent leader. Having said that, having heard your views, I am moving ahead and I am leaving you with one comparison for you to pause and ponder. The comparison is role of EI in leadership is exactly as the role of seed in crop. What are your thoughts on it? And all of you are welcome. Deepak, Afshin, Ayman, all of you are welcome to share your thoughts.
Thank you.
So, role of EI in leadership is exactly as role of seed in crop. What do you have to say on this? Dr. Kayas, Raman, all of you are welcome to please.
You just plant and water and then wait.
Absolutely. And if the yes, please.
This is more clearer than Leonardo da Vinci's creation, whether the woman is smiling or not.
Right. So if you are watering a seed of cotton, how do you expect the crop to be that of wheat? If you're if you're watering, if you're giving those manures and fertilizers to a seed of cotton, you cannot expect wheat to grow from it. Similarly, if you are expecting your people to be high potential people, if you're expecting your people to collaborate, if you're expecting your people to have open communication, transparency, so on and so forth, whatever are your values that you live by, but you yourself are not walking that talk, you yourself as a leader are not exhibiting those values, how do you expect your people to be influenced by you. Yes, they'll get influenced by you, but in those values which you are exhibiting. So if you are exhibiting the value of of scolding them every time with your action, with your words, with your sarcastic looks and remarks, that is what you are sowing as well. How many of you agree with this?
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe a thumbs up, or maybe
Yeah,
a smile.
absolutely.
All right, thank you, Apni. Thank you. Uh, and leadership is not about impacting, it is about influencing. So if I do this, it is just an impact and it will remain for a second, for a very small moment. But if I can show my followers that this is how you have to stand tall, this is how you have to present yourself, and this is how you have to value, or you have to practice the values of my organization, I am doing it for you and with you, then I am influencing my follower. Otherwise, this impact will last for a second, for a few minutes. And being leader is not being impacting, but being influencing. Although, yes, Dr.
Anju,
Kais. Yes,
it
please.
depends on the time I have to share with my team. So it depends. So maybe the leader passes by and
At
just
times.
So yeah, so it's just about the impact he leaves behind.
Right. So when the leader leaves behind an impact, the leader should also be very, very cautious and mindful of one fact, that impact may last for a very small time, for a very short time. In case the leader wants that value to be present there with his people, I'll give you a very small example of one of my coachee. It was a session today, and one of my coachees said that I am about to get the role in some country which is a very small country, and it is somewhere somewhere very remote. But that place, if I am able to turn the windows or turn the tables altogether, then I will actually be doing more than even the level of a director here in India. Having said that, he also said that people there, because the people in India have acquired that office very, very recently. So he had this apprehension that even if I move there, even if I try to give all those values there, they may not agree with me, because for them, I am still going to be an external body. So Anju, how do I ensure that I am a value ambassador there? And as a coach, of course, I was not supposed to answer, but the final answer came from within him. And he said, till the time I am able to walk my talk, validating it with real stories from the history of my organization here in India and at other 5 places, I think I will be able to influence them. So yes, that is what role of EI in leadership is. Initially, this person was perturbed. Initially, even this person here in India was not very clear on his how is he going to walk his talk. But once he got centered, once he realized his own emotions, he was well prepared to understand the emotions of other people. And now he knew that what action plan, with what intensity will he take up. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? How about one line from all of you? How about how about listening, at least one learning in case you have had so far? Anyone? Scratch your heads little harder. You are investing your time. Listen to your emotions.
Anju, I have a question.
Afshin. Yes, Afshin.
Is it possible to have influence on people without any impact?
All right. Again, Afshin, thank you so much for this beautiful question. Afshin, just like just like I am a holistic being, so my head is not mutually exclusive from my heart. Is it? Is my head mutually exclusive from my heart? No. Similarly, influence and impact, they are not mutually exclusive, but the idea is impact is short-lived. Whereas
Yes.
influence is, or in other words, if I have to put it, I'll say influence is giving responsibility or sowing the seed of responsibility in the person who is your follower, that now from now on you have to
Forever.
practice this value. Yes.
Yes.
So and if I take use of English grammar, I will say that instead of I have to, now it has become I must, because I have to comes from outside. Doctor says, now you're a diabetic, so you have to walk 5 miles a day. But when I say, no, I must start walking, it is coming from within me. So that is impact and this is influence. Does that answer your question?
I'll
And
compliment what you're saying.
Yes,
Dr.
Raman.
Anju.
Yes,
Okay,
Raman.
the influence of a captain leading a side makes them all believe that they can win a match. The winning is the impact. The influence is making them feel they can do it.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely right. Thank you so much, Raman, for that
Thank
important
you,
nugget.
I'd like to engage in,
thank you.
Yes,
I
Dr.
mostly use
Kais.
sports.
I'd like to engage in this conversation, challenging
Yes, Dr. Kais.
so maybe I give another perspective. So I'd like to get your view on it. So for me, I think impact is part of influence. And it's not about the size of the impact, because we saw people change in the course of history, and it was just their impact on history. So maybe a word, an idea, it may change everything. Maybe you share just a concept, a word with someone, and his entire life changes. I think when it comes to the impact, it's about the outcome. So I'm influencing the outcome of something. So I'm really helping you with this. But influence is broader because it's about the process. So I can influence to learn, to grow, and to really delve in that self-discovery process. And the impact would be something beyond my own expectations. So I haven't addressed the impact by just I worked with you on the process.
Thank you so much for that perspective. Indeed, very interesting. Just like Raman brought it up from the sports, and you said that how influence is a process and impact can be the end result. So indeed, very, very beautiful perspectives. And EI is a game of perspectives. The more you understand from each other, the more we grow, the more we evolve. That's what I have believed in all 20 years of my working by till now in this area. And yes, summing up our conversation so far, allow me to say that the ability to connect emotionally with employees or with your followers is essential for leadership effectiveness. Because if I cannot emotionally connect with my talent, with my employees, with my people, I will only be a manager for them. And manager is by hierarchy. Manager is because of the positional power. I may not be able to influence them onto that spot where I really need to. So the way a leader makes you feel can impact your engagement. Absolutely. That is what both of them said. That impact, as Raman said, that winning is an impact. So the way a leader makes you feel can impact your engagement as well as your productivity, and how much you build that into your DNA because of your leader becomes influence of your leader. Any questions so far? This is really interesting that all of you have that energy and enthusiasm to share your perspectives, and I am enjoying it. So please feel free to pour in.
Comments on the chat box, Anju.
Oh, sure. I will. Let me. Okay.
Anju, can I say something?
Why not?
In positive, excellent, yeah. In my opinion, however, both are related, and both impact and influence can be the result of each other.
You'll have to repeat your question. I'm sorry, could not understand that.
It's not question. Just it's a comment.
Oh yeah. Please repeat that for me. I'm sorry.
Yes.
My name is Kais.
Kais?
Yeah.
Kais. Okay, Kais. In my opinion, both of impact and influence are related to each other, and both can be the result of each other. It means impact would be result of influence, and influence could be result of impact. Why not?
So this is my perspective, and then
I would like to.
My perspective is two circles, and the impact is inside.
Okay. Okay.
My perspective is if you're looking for an impact, it might be either positive or negative, but if you're trying to influence, you're genuine.
Great, thank you. I'm a bit familiar with the other perspectives. That's good.
Fantastic. So Afshin, enjoy the bouquet of perspectives coming to you, and then analyze and build upon your own perspective, because something that you will synthesize from with your own knowledge, you will always have confidence in it. There will be no if and but. So bring
Yes.
as many perspectives, and then try to synthesize from your
Yes.
own. As Dr. Kaya said, I see two circles and the center is impact, whereas Raman added something else to it. And so you can always bring in as many perspectives, arrange them as in your bouquet, and then synthesize your own knowledge out of it, because information is available everywhere. Knowledge is what you synthesize. All right. So picking a few questions from the chat box, Deepak says, where is the question? So his throat is sore. All right, Deepak, please take care. EI is clearly a success strategy. Connecting with our team members with authenticity and showing them what you expect from them makes a whole lot of difference. Yes, indeed. In industries which are more knowledge-based, a mere position do not guarantee respect from your peer or team members. One has to really showcase that she belongs to the team and has all credentials to lead that team, of course, especially in a knowledge-based organization. As you rightly said, you may be just the managing partner, but you are not only playing the role of a managing partner, you also are playing the role of a value ambassador. You also are playing the role of change maker, so on and so forth. Absolutely. So there are various fields on which you'll be playing, especially in a knowledge-based organization. Why not? Am I missing on any question, Dr. Kayas, if you have noticed any question?
Maybe sharing.
Okay.
I think Avni likes the way you put it. So you said.
Okay. Thank you, Avni.
Yeah.
Yes, now I can access that. I was not able to access these chats. All right. I don't see any questions. Thank you, Raman and Saqib. And yes, Saqib, can I safely conclude, Raman, Saqib is asking, can I safely conclude influence is my efforts and impact is the result? So yes, impact is certainly the result. But Saqib, again, $1 million statement is that, do you want this result to be only for once, or do you want this result to keep coming? And that is where my perspective of influence as a process, which Dr. Kayas also rightly pointed out, influence is a process, impact is the result. Do you want that result to happen only once, or do you want that kind of a result to repeat itself time after time because you have already influenced your people? Moving ahead, any questions before I move ahead? Anything to offer before I move ahead? In respect of time, we have 25 minutes. Yes, Avni.
I just had a comment, really. So basically, what I'm getting is that more EI we have, then more we're able to hold multiple perspectives together, go beyond our perspectives, and then we are able to influence and impact both, right?
That's right.
So that's how these two are related together. Essentially, that's what I'm getting from your conversation. That higher our EI, higher our influence and impact, because we have more perspectives available at any given point.
Right. Avni, in fact, you have just reminded me of a beautiful example, a cup containing clear water. Clear water, okay, you will respect the sanity of clear water, but how will you get to know that how much is the holding capacity or the saturation point of this clear water? Only after you start putting certain things into it. Salt might get dissolved for some level. Sugar may get dissolved up till some level. Mud may not dissolve at all, but water will still hold it, so on and so forth. And that is how the emotional intelligence, to hold people's perspective, but not getting hurt by people's perspective, is absolutely what you have brought, a very important point. So a clear water is what I am. I keep increasing my EI by holding as much as possible. But the moment it starts hurting me, I must know that now it is hurting me, and I must put my foot down. High EI does not mean to be a holder, to be a punch bag forever, because that may give you empathy fatigue, that may give you a fatigue, a distress, which you will not be able to overcome. So please be mindful. High EI does not mean any maximum EI. It is optimum EI for Avni, which can be different, for Dr. Kayas, which can be different, for Afshin, which can be different. So be mindful of that. Yeah.
Thank you. That's a great
Thank
point
you.
you raised, that that the aim of the game isn't necessarily to go for the highest EI at any given point, because that could become overwhelming, because you will then take on too much and too many energies and too many things. But it's more about creating a balance with your purpose ultimately, that, what is your aim? What's your goal? If you're meeting your aims and goals with any given relationship or any given situation, then your balance is okay. But if you need to adjust it, then you need to look at potentially your EI so that you can accept more viewpoints.
True that, absolutely. And thank you so much for initiating that idea with your first statement. Yes.
In fact, for me, I always look at an octopus as an emotionally intelligent creature. More emotional intelligent leader, because it's got all its fangs out there. Everyone's sensitive to pick up some information or the other. So to me, that's the representation of emotional intelligence. It serves what
I think we lost Raman's voice.
Mute.
I was saying I was looking at emotional intelligent leader as an octopus who has all its tentacles out there. Very sensitive. Each one of it is sensitive enough, and that's why it's said that it's a very intelligent creature.
All right. What to pick, what not to pick, when to pick. As Aristotle said, that getting angry is not difficult, and anger is not an unpleasant emotion always, but to get angry with the right person for the right reason, in the right intensity, for a right reason, at the right time, is more important. So yes, thank you. And Atifa, I see Atifa also has joined us. Thank you so much, Atifa, for joining.
We have a question from Deepak on the chat.
Oh yes, Deepak. Let me just access the chat. I'm sorry. Deepak. Okay. Deepak says, often most of us understand importance of EI at workplace or even in our personal relations. How many times our old habits results into something that is not aligned with EI? So habits and EI, well, that is a thought I will have to probe further from you, just in case you can answer the question. But however, let me just go through the complete question. How do we as leaders ensure that we remain aligned with EI? Could you share some tools and techniques which can help us in reinforcing EI in our lives? All right. Though I would have loved to probe you, Deepak, that where are these two dimensions coming from? Because there must be a reason. However, in the interest of time and respecting your question, how about me jumping to a tool that may be on some slides, but forget about the slide and pay attention to what I say. So while I was going through this book of Mark Brackett, who is the founder of Center for Emotional Intelligence, Yale University, the book's name is Permission to Feel. And there at Yale University, they have devised a rule called RULER, R-U-L-E-R. Recognize emotion, understand emotion, label emotion, evaluate emotion, and then respond. I was I was processing this thought for quite many months, and that was like 2 years back rather, when the book came out. I was processing this thought continuously, that in an environment, and since I belong to India, so in an environment where emotional literacy is not really high, how do I train people, or how do I touch lives of people by simply giving them a message that, you should label your emotions. You should label your emotions every time. I wondered how easy or how difficult it is going to be. I carried out a pilot training, and yes, I did not find that result of in getting of making people influenced with this rule called ruler. So I tweaked it in respect of the low emotional literacy in India I'm talking about, because in India, generally what happens when you ask that, hey, how are you? The response will come, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm fine. Hardly people will ask, how are you feeling, Atifa? And hardly people will reply, oh, I am not really feeling comfortable because I lost one of my tooth today and I'm feeling very painful. Very, very rarely you'll find. So I tweaked this ruler into Roper. So Deepak, and for others, it is RAUPER. Now R stands for recognize. Recognize that you are experiencing something. That is very important, because if I don't respect my own body and mind, I will not be able to center myself. So recognize that you're experiencing something, pleasant, unpleasant, whatever. Recognize. Then A, acknowledge and accept. So you have recognized that, yes, I'm feeling something, I'm experiencing something. Acknowledge and accept that, yes, whatever I'm feeling, there is something that I'm feeling. You may not have been able to still word it out, but now is the time, because once you become accepting that, okay, there is something I'm feeling. Now when I say acknowledge, give it a name. Now name can be very vague. Oh, little troublesome, I'm happy but I'm restless, anything. Acknowledge that. Give yourself that space to recognize and acknowledge. Accept that there is something that you're experiencing, and then you understand where is it coming from. Oh, I actually drove from Mumbai to Delhi, which is like thousands of kilometers, and I stretched myself, and the moment I entered Delhi, my meetings have started. I have not been able to sleep even for 5 minutes in past 48 hours. I am just losing everything right here, and henceforth I'm becoming restless. So what have I done? I've understood. You is understand. I've understood that what is it I'm feeling and why am I feeling so. P, take a pause. Take a pause to ask yourself now, what is it that you want to do? Okay, you are feeling restless. Okay, you have drove 48 hours. Yes, the fact is you have to attend these meetings. Yes, you are feeling restless. What is it that you want to do? Pause. Okay, I can ask my stakeholders to maybe give me a half an hour. Is that possible? Okay, now I'm coming to E, that is evaluate. I've taken my pause. To give my neurons a space to have various options that I can exercise, and now I'm evaluating them with E. Can I ask my stakeholders to give me half an hour? No, that doesn't look professional. They also have come from so many other places. Okay. Can I take maybe a Red Bull, or maybe I can go high on caffeine and then manage my state of mind? Okay. Yes, maybe that is possible. Will I still behave sanely there? Oh yes, I've done it enough number of times, so that is fine. I'll take a Red Bull and then quickly take a shower and reach to the meeting point. Okay. Is that okay? Better than the first one, at least. First one looks so unprofessional. Then you are finally responding by picking up the second option. Now just imagine if you had not given yourself that space to recognize that you're experiencing something. That restlessness would have gone into a loop, and ultimately the result of meeting may not have been in your favor. Does that answer your question, Deepak? I'll again access the chat box to know. Okay. Tuck. Deepak, I'm still waiting. Okay. Thank you, Deepak. So Deepak says, yes, it does. All right. And as we are moving in the direction of being emotionally intelligent leader, and it is important for me to know my emotions. It is important for me to intuitively know the other person's emotions and then deal with the situation, because there is a goal. EI is also a goal-directed behavior. There is a goal, as Avni rightly pointed out. If my conversation, if my transaction is not taking me to my goal, then somewhere I am lacking in exhibiting my EI, which means I am not listening to my own emotions, because you need to be self-aware first and socially aware later. How many of you will believe a person who comes up to you and says, you know what, Shweta, I can solve problems of other people very easily because I understand them all. But, somehow I don't understand myself. I'm not able to solve my own problems. Somehow I don't know how to, solve problems of my family members. How many of you are going to believe this person? I will not. And your smiles are telling me that you will not either, because somebody, yes.
Just in one case, if he is a singer.
Sorry?
Just if he is a singer. So
okay. Sure. So in that case, he has nobody else to understand there back in the family. But yes, we will not trust him. And vice versa, when someone says that, hey, I know how to strike a balance between my professional and personal life. Yes, there are highs and lows, but I deal with them. And finally, I sail through. Also, I am an anchor of satisfaction and contentment for my own family members. Do you want to take my support? Do you want me to help you out? How many of you will trust him or her? I will. I will. As Raman says, yes, I will. For a very simple reason. Atif also says yes. For a very simple reason, that the person is very, very self-aware about himself. He is receptive to himself, so he'll be receptive to my issues. He'll be a great facilitator for me to walk my journey and tap into my inner potential to get those answers from within me, or maybe help me out. And that is what a leader is. So why do you look for a leader? If I can do everything on my own, then why am I looking for a leader? I am looking up to a leader because there is something that I either need to get transcended upon, or there is something that I have a gap and I may not be able to do it by myself. A leader needs to be centered. A leader needs to be emotionally intelligent, so that the productivity and performance of team is not at stake. Rather, it is moving in the direction of the goal that the leader and team has decided upon. Anything that you want to say? Anyone? All right then.
May I?
Yes, Atifa, why not? All the pleasure.
Thank you. So a leader, I guess, is also someone who directs not only other people, but also himself in the best possible manner.
True.
So, self-management is where everything has to start with. And on the other hand, there's also the perspective that, we need an objective view on ourselves. It's not only, subjectively, we may not be aware of the full reality of ourselves. So the leader is also a person, while being independent, while being all things good, is also an objective, assessment of ourselves. And that is why we are not completely independent, we are interdependent. And I think that's also why we need a leader.
True that. In fact, this kind of a discussion can take us deep into being non-judgmental but evaluative. So a leader importantly has to be non-judgmental but evaluative of every situation. He or she must take a stock of the situation on the face of it, then probe deep down, rather than coming with his or her own baggage of the situation. So yes, now thank you so much, Atifa, for bringing in that beautiful, beautiful perspective. I would like to break a myth here. And the myth is emotion and rational are mutually exclusive. Most of the time I'm thrown a statement. I mean, I don't know how many webinars or how many face-to-face interactions I have been thrown this question. So Anju, people say that I am very, very emotional. I express myself really well. I cry it out, I shout. And so people say you are very weak. And I wonder, being emotional is being weak? Who said so? Being emotional means you are recognizing that you have an emotion. You are expressing that emotion also. You are not weak. Who said that expressing your emotion, the ability to express your emotions with the right people, or maybe with the people who at least can vent and can help you vent out, that's not being weak. Yes, you can certainly raise up your emotional intelligence, but being emotional, that is being expressive, expressing what you feel, is not being weak. And then people will ask me, second question, are we and Dr. Kais, it has got nothing to do with your first question, huh? Disclaimer here. So yes, people will generally ask that on one side you're talking about emotions, and on the other side you're talking about intelligence. How is that possible? Of course it is possible, because we have multiple types of intelligence. And at the same time, every emotion, as Dr. Kais rightly said, every emotion has a message. So understanding the message of that emotion is emotional intelligence. And somewhere down the line, there are two circles which are matching together. So one is the emotion, when you scan your body, butterfly in the stomach when you are anxious, thumping of heart when you have that fear, or stiffing of neck when you are in stress. And then your rational, that is your prefrontal cortex, telling you that, oh, okay, so you have appointment with your boss after you have taken unpaid leave, after you have taken your unpaid leaves of 6 days. Boss is going to kill you, man. And all those things happening. So what should I do? I better keep calm, better keep mum, listen to the person first, let him vent out whatever he has to vent out, then I'll give my own responses. I think, yes, that is how I must respond to the situation. So now that is your emotional intelligence. You have acknowledged what you are feeling. You have intuitively understood what your boss is going to say you, or how is he going to feel about the situation. And with the use of ROPER, you have also evaluated your options to come up with that response that you would like to take. Now, we are 7 minutes into the session, and I'm mindful of the time. Although the discussion can go on and on, however, I would really I urge you to come up maybe with one of the epiphany moment that has struck you just now. Oh, had I behaved or responded in this and this manner, I must have influenced the other person. Anyone who went back to some situation, pulled it out from there, and is now talking to within the mind, an internal dialogue happening, that I could have influenced the other person if I was aware of my emotions or the other person's emotions. Anyone, please feel free.
I can share an example.
Yes, Avni.
So something happened at the dinner table today, right? So it's so how do I put it in a short and sharp way? Because the conversation's long. But anyway, I had a chat with my daughter a couple of days ago about a particular incident where, I needed to kind of inform her that there was a bit of lack of empathy in her response about something. So I just wanted to give her that feedback. I did. I know that she felt a bit guilty, and, she said, "Mommy, I'll do things differently in future." I said, "No problem, that's fine." And then we moved on. But I noticed that there was a bit of guilt in her. So, and I didn't want that. I feel that guilt is a waste of time. I just want somebody to move on forward to do the right thing rather than feel guilty. I don't like the whole feeling of guilty. So today at the dinner table, I asked her, I said, "Anaya, how did I talked to you, and can you just give me feedback on how I spoke to you, and what can I do differently to make sure that in future you don't feel guilty. I don't want that guilt on you. I just want you to know what's the best way to do things next time. So I had that chat with her, and I said, I'm happy for you to share anything about what I said and how I said and how I can do things differently. She turned around and said, Mommy, actually, everything you said was just fine. There was nothing in it. I did feel guilty, but I did learn from it. And I was then just asking, then how can I help you learn? What can I do differently to help you learn without that guilty moment, and then she guided me. And so I just role played with her. I just sat there role playing that had I said it like this or had I said it like that, what's the difference in the feeling that you get, And she said, yeah, this particular way is a little bit nicer. I like it, So I feel like A, I learned something in that moment. B, in a way, I was being sort of, emotionally responsive about it. And B, in a way, when we're talking about impact and influence, so then there was that impact and influence on her and the whole dinner table, I guess, the kids are listening, right? So they could see that mommy is reflecting on how else she can do things, and she's asking for feedback and how to do things better. And also that influences them to know that there are more than one ways to respond to anything at any given situation. So that was A, learning moment for me, B, a learning moment for the whole family, and just a nice conversation that helped us connect better together. And so that, so I just, that's the only thing that I can think of right now.
Super. You know what, Avni, what all competence did you demonstrate during that conversation? A, you demonstrated your self-awareness that yes, you were a little angry or maybe whatever was that unpleasant emotion. You also did later, once you realize that your daughter is feeling a little guilty, you actually exhibited empathy under social awareness. And not just this, you simultaneously while you were feeling a little angry or upset, you also did exercise self-control under self-management, and you took that initiative to reach out to her and talk it out with her with empathy that, my girl, how could I have spoken with you little differently so as not to invoke that guilt factor in you. And now you have not only influenced her because she said, okay, mama, whatever you said was right. Yes, I did feel guilty about it. And you took the responsibility, you took that charge that no, I don't want you to feel guilty about anything. Tell me how can I handle it differently. So you exhibited so many competence during that conversation. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Still 2 minutes before wrapping up. So as a conclusion.
Yes. So this is the conclusion. And here I'll, with all the fondness for Daniel Goleman's EI competency framework, I'll take a stop here. All the curious souls can have a look on this framework, can Google it, can read it, and figure out which competence is it that you are exhibiting and which competence would you like to work upon to be a leader who can influence others. And with this, I take a bow from my side. My message has been delivered. Over to you, Dr. Kayas.
Thank you so much, Anju.
Thank you.
With this powerful insight, we come to the end of our webinar. I'd like to, with your permission, so I'd like all of us, if not most of us, to activate the camera and just upload Dr. Anju for her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all those who have been with us today and who shared this wonderful moment with us. So thank you all. And again, so I can't really thank you enough for this wonderful presentation, Anju, and hope to see you next webinars. Thank you all. Until that moment, stay safe and enjoy growing and learning. I like your smiles, my friends. See you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sparing your time and trusting. Thank you. We'll take your
Thank
leave.
you.
Bye-bye.
For all of you. Thank you.